the 5 cities in the world where not even the rich can afford to rent a flat. Prime rents have risen in major cities around the world as pandemic restrictions ease. Following the lifting of pandemic restrictions and border controls, housing rents rose 10.2% in 10 major cities around the world in the third quarter of 2022 compared to a year ago. This is clear from the latest Knight Frank Prime Global Rental Index report. The Prime Global Rental Index, published quarterly, tracks luxury residential rentals in 10 cities using data from Knight Frank's Global Research Network. Of the 10 cities analyzed by the real estate consultancy, only 2, Hong Kong and Auckland, registered decreases in the prices of luxury rentals. Hong Kong's financial hub was hit by pandemic restrictions, while supply was strong in Auckland's luxury property segment, Knight Frank says in its report. As for the seemingly relentless rise in rents in other cities, there is good news. The pace of growth is slowing. The 10.2% increase in rents is less than the 11.9% that Knight Frank posted in the second quarter of the year. Read on for a look at the top 5 cities where prime, or luxury, rentals rose the fastest in Q3 2022. Rounding out the top 10, but not on our list, are Geneva, Monaco, Tokyo, Auckland, and Hong Kong. New York has recovered from the pandemic and rents have skyrocketed. The variation in the rental price in the third quarter compared to a year ago, plus 31.3%. Although the 31.3% rise is less than its peak of 39% in the second quarter, rents remained high due to inventory shortages and continued demand, Kate Everett-Allen, head of research, notes in the report. Knight Frank International Residence. The number of properties available to rent across Manhattan fell 5% from a quarter ago and is down 65% from September 2020. Rents have risen in New York as the city recovers from the pandemic, a development that has caused some renters to worry about expiring leases, Business Insider's Alcina Lloyd reported in March 2022. Singapore rentals have been boosted by strong demand after the borders reopened. The variation in the rental price in the third quarter compared to the previous year, plus 22.9%. The opening of borders, together with the introduction of new visas to attract the best talent from around the world, has generated a rebound in demand, Everett-Allen notes of Singapore. Demand has been fueled by immigration and by people who need temporary housing as they wait for construction on their homes to be completed after construction was halted by the pandemic. Young people, who traditionally live with their families until they marry, are also looking to rent amid a surge in remote work. Residential property prices have also risen in Singapore during the 3 quarters of this year, according to an official private residential price index. To rein in the market amid uncertain global economic prospects, the Singapore government introduced new rules limiting the ability of private residential property sellers to purchase a government-subsidized apartment for 15 months, further fueling demand of rental properties. Rents in Singapore's private residential market are expected to continue to rise in 2023, but at a slower rate of 13% to 16% in 2023, up from 26% to 29% in 2022, due to an increase in the number of homes coming online, says the real estate company Orange T in a report on December 23. Rents in London have risen almost 19% in the midst of the cost of living crisis. The variation in the rental price in the third quarter compared to a year ago is plus 18.6%. The third quarter reflected a slowdown from the summer peak in London rentals, with prices growing 19% in the third quarter and 27% in the second, according to Knight Frank. Rising rents have made life unaffordable for Londoners, with some facing increases of up to 60%, according to research by The Guardian. The British government has stated that it does not support rent control as it would discourage investment in the sector. Toronto rentals are supported by strong demand as interest rates put off home buying. Variation in the rental price in the third quarter compared to a year ago, 14.5%. Residential rents in Toronto, Canada increased 14.5% in the third quarter of 2022 from a year ago due to strong demand. Rents in Toronto have been boosted by rising interest rates, which discourage potential homebuyers from buying. We're getting close to a point where rents are becoming unaffordable for tenants. Rents in Sydney are up almost 9% from a year ago, but the rate of increase is slowing. Variation in the rental price in the third quarter compared to a year ago, 8.9%. As in Canada, residential rents in Sydney are boosted by rising interest rates and increased immigration after the borders reopen. Meanwhile, housing supply has not kept up with demand, sparking rental bidding wars. The state of New South Wales, where Sydney is located, is investigating the practice of bidding for rent and considering reforming the system.